Official, the best of Australian hip-hop Volume 1 is here. Horrorshow.
So the beat for Walk You Home is sampled from a Sufjan Stevens track. So we basically just took the banjo loop at the beginning of the song, looped it up, put drums on it, and over time worked in some other change-ups, like recorded some live strings and a few other kind of synth pads and stuff. But and in the middle there's a bridge section where we go into a completely different thing, but the core of the beat has always rested on that loop, that banjo loop. I just remember, like, it's a really old, it's an old beat. First made it probably back in high school, and it kind of floated around for a while and didn't do anything, and then it was just perfect for what I wanted to write about. So yeah, like the core of it is just based around that banjo loop, and it's so simple, but it's got such a beautiful vibe to it. And yeah, like I think at one point Added even suggested a different beat for the song that we used, but I always knew that this was the one for what I wanted to write about. So the verses for this track are obviously very, very personal. The song's basically a breakup song and like a ballad, really. If you want to be honest about it, it's probably the best way to describe what the track is. So basically I was with a girl who the song is about, and she, you know, was a big deal to me. Like, she's an amazing person and still is, and she's still in my life. But you know, she always, when we were together, she always wanted me to write a song about her, basically. And she wanted me to write something positive, because I'd written stuff about when we'd had bad times, but I'd never written anything about the good times, you know what I mean? And then when we broke up, it was kind of like I wanted to write something that would sort of honor our relationship, you know what I mean, and honor the way that I felt about her, and put some of those good things down so that they were recorded, and just to sort of like pay tribute to them, I guess. So, you know, the verses are collected from little bits and pieces that I wrote all throughout our relationship and the time we were together, and then also, you know, in a more concentrated way after we broke up. But basically it's like made up of pieces and fragments, you know, just little things that I wrote down during the time we were together. So, you know, there's a line in there about takeaway Thai food, and you know, we used to eat a lot of Thai food at her house, and it's very literal. As much as I wanted to make the verses like cryptic and kind of poetic, I guess, it's also very literal, and there's a lot of stuff in the verses that I've kind of referenced or hidden that is connected to specific things that I know what they mean, on a level that, you know, maybe the listener doesn't. And that's why what I think is so special about the song is that, you know, it is very personal, and I did write it really closely about my own personal experience, but I wanted to write it in a way that anybody could relate to the verses, or you know, find parallels with their own story or things that they've been through. So it's been interesting, you know, over the years, watching like people learn the lyrics of something that you originally write basically for one person. You know, I wrote the song as something to give to her, and for the two of us to share, you know what I mean? But as the song was released on a CD and we played it live and people have responded to it, and you know, I've met people who have gotten married to this song, or we had a guy at one of our gigs propose to his girl to this song. I've met lots of people who have the lyrics tattooed on them and things like that. And I guess that's what's really mad about the tune, for me and for her, is like it's been a bit of a strange journey to have something originally that was very private and very personal, and then to share that, you know, with the world, has been kind of weird. But I think we both like that the story in the song has resonated with so many people, and the verses, you know, when we play that song live, I see people in the crowd just just rap the whole thing with their heart out, you know. And it's a slow song. It's not a song that you would hear it and think this would go off at a festival, you know what I mean? But sometimes it gets the biggest reaction sometimes when we play, because it's just like, I think it's basically the verses are about the first time that you fall in love and how that's a big deal, and it's worth like kind of honoring, you know. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like everyone eventually will fall in love, and often it'll go wrong. So yeah, that's the vibe behind the verses. So the hook for the song came about towards the end of finishing the verses. It's pretty rare for me to write a chorus before I write the verses to our songs. It's usually the other way around, because through the process of writing the verses I sort of work out what the main message is or whatever, and that's what goes into the hook. So with this one, I knew that I just wanted to write something really simple but heartfelt, and just like a strong melody, you know. And I actually think, even though it's so simple, I still think the chorus is one of my favorite lines that I've written, just because, yeah, it's so simple, but it manages to get a big point across. I remember when we finished the first version of the song, it was really, really raw. Basically, like, I'd been going through this breakup, and at the moment where it was really, you know, finally clear that this was over, and, you know, that was that, I basically locked myself up and was like, I've got to write this now while it's fresh to me, and while it's still, I used writing the song as a way to make sense of what was going on in my head. So, you know, I locked myself up. I finished the song, in the final process of it, very quickly, and we recorded it the next day, and then I gave the original version of the song to the person who it's about. That was the whole purpose of it to begin with. Later on, about 6 months later or something, when we actually went to record the album, the fucking hard drive that the song was on to begin with crashed, and along with a bunch of our other tunes, we had to remake this song from scratch. So we remade the beat and re-recorded the vocals, and that was a really weird process, because when we made it the first time around, it was so raw, and so to kind of revisit that later on, but to want so badly, like, it was always so important to me to capture the feeling that was in the original, you know. So it's kind of interesting to me that we put the song out and people have heard it and they've loved it and they've connected with it and all the rest of it, but in another way they've kind of not really heard that original thing that drove the song, you know. But I think we just worked really hard to get that vibe back, and I'm really happy with how the song turned out. It's like, it's a weird thing to take something so personal and to share it with so many people, and it's not something that I thought about at the time. I just wanted to, you know, make a song that was as true as I could, and so to go on this journey of seeing it kind of go out in the world and people react to it and what it means to them has been really interesting, and also very, very bizarre. And, you know, I should probably like send a little shout out to the Palindromic Angel, who this song is about, because I think at times it's been quite weird for her and for me to like see strangers connecting with the tune, but at the end of the day, I'm real proud of it. You know, it's like one of the songs that we've made that I'm really glad we made it, and I'm glad that it's out there in the world, and I'm glad it's on the compilation. So, peace.
Official, the best of Australian hip-hop Volume 1 is out now.